Before I start, hit that subscribe button, because I promise you this, the ending to this story will leave you breathless. It began at my brother's birthday dinner. The table was crowded with relatives, laughter, and clinking glasses. I had barely taken my seat when my uncle leaned forward, voice cutting sharp through the noise. "You know, Mark, everyone in this family agrees. You'll never be as good as your brother. He's the real success. You're just lucky." The room froze. My brother smirked. My mother lowered her eyes, and my father just sipped his wine like the comment had been rehearsed. I sat there, fork in hand, pulse steady. I didn't flinch. I didn't offend myself. I only smiled and said, "Funny, if I'm just lucky, maybe I'll stop covering your debts." They didn't realize it then, but that was the moment the balance of power shifted. For years, I had been the family's safety net. When my brother gambled away his salary, I bailed him out. When my parents' business failed, I wired the money to keep the lights on. Every Christmas, they praised my brother's charm, his potential, while I paid the bills that made their holidays possible. I told myself it was love, family, duty, but loyalty erodes under silence. I started noticing things. How my brother bragged about his investments online without mentioning the checks I wrote. How my mother excused his mistakes as pressure, while my small achievements were dismissed as arrogance. How my father's borrowed loans became permanent gifts. The betrayal wasn't sudden. It was slow rot, years in the making. That night at dinner only tore the last thread. I didn't argue. I didn't shout. I just smiled and began planning. The first step was quiet. My brother's gambling? I let it run unchecked. No more transfers to cover his emergencies. I kept the overdue credit card statements he shoved under my door. I even bought the debt collector's silence by taking ownership of his loans. He had no idea I was a shadow behind them. My parents? I stopped sending automatic payments for their mortgage. When they called, I blamed delays at the bank. Meanwhile, I stacked their warning letters in a neat folder. Every missed payment was another nail in the coffin they'd built for themselves. For weeks, I watched. I saw how my brother leaned on me like a crutch, how my parents' pride was a mask held up by the money I funneled into their lives. They thought I was a machine, endless, tireless. They forgot what happens when the machine stops. The collapse came faster than I expected. One late afternoon, my brother stormed into my apartment, pale and furious. "They froze my account," he shouted. "I can't pay rent. You have to help me." I leaned back, calm. "Strange. I thought you were the successful one. Ask Dad. He thinks I'm just lucky." His jaw dropped and snapped shut. For the first time, he had no words. A week later, my parents appeared at my door, faces gray with fear. "The bank is threatening foreclosure," my mother whispered. My father added, "Just a little help, like before." I poured myself a drink, the ice cracking like glass in the silence. "Funny," I said. "You spent years reminding me how much better my brother is. Maybe you should ask your golden boy." Their silence was heavier than anger. But the final act, oh, that was deliberate. I invited them all to dinner. My house this time. My rules. Halfway through the meal, my brother snapped, eyes bloodshot. "You've ruined me. They're coming for my car, my apartment, everything. All because you stopped helping." I leaned forward. "No, you ruined yourself because you believed I'd carry you forever." But I dropped the weight. Then I slid the folder across the table. Copies of debt contracts under his name, foreclosure notices addressed to my parents, every lie, every hidden dependency exposed in black and white. My mother's fork slipped from her hand. My father stared, lips trembling but silent. My brother stammered something about family loyalty. I smiled. "Loyalty. Funny. I never saw any from you." That night, no one shouted. No one moved. The silence was louder than thunder. By the next month, my brother's car was gone, his apartment emptied. My parents sold their jewelry to keep the bank at bay. They never asked me for help again. Pride sealed their lips. Fear kept them distant. And me? I slept like I hadn't in years. People call revenge bitter. They're wrong. Revenge is clarity. A medicine you don't want but sometimes need. That night, I stopped being their scapegoat. I became selfish. Finally,